What's going on, everybody? Sigourney Jackson here with another episode of Who Politics. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell to stay up to date on everything that is Who Politics. We are back with another highlight breakdown. We are going to be breaking down the game of Ellis. You probably have already heard that name before because I've already done a part 1 of his highlight breakdown, but this one's going to be a little different. We're going to actually go in depth and do play-by-plays of what exactly makes him a special basketball player. Since our last video, he's picked up more offers from places like Texas Tech, Oregon, Nebraska, and Arizona State, just to name a few. So hopefully you guys are going to be able to watch this and enjoy it and be able to pick up some little nuggets, and so you too can bring this into your game and possibly help your recruitment as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so the first thing that makes Ellis one of the top point guards is his use of the pick and roll. When he is creating for others, he is definitely at his best. He translates to all levels of basketball. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip right here. So if you're paying attention, he's actually working off the pick and roll right now. We have a big who is coming up right now to set a screen on the right side. If you pay attention to the bigs defender, he is already moving slowly on the right hand side as well. Ellis sees that and rejects the screen because now he has a wide open right lane to be able to get all the way to the rim. So we're going to go in really slow motion. He has his defender now on his left hip right here. If you pay attention, you'll see in the bottom left corner here, and I'm probably going to have to put some type of icon so you can see him. There is a player who is cutting down under the rim. As he's cutting under the rim, he is now forcing number 5 here to have to make a move down here to cut him off, because since Ellis's defender is on his left side, that number 3 down there has to step up to stop him, otherwise he's going to be able to get that layup. As a result, who number 5 is guarding, which is number 11, is now wide open. Ellis is able to see that, and he is able to make the cross-court pass off of 1 foot right into the shooting pocket of number 11 and be able to knock down this wide open three-pointer right here. This right here is textbook basketball from the point guard perspective, and it's actually what translates at all levels, no matter what size you are, no matter how athletic you are, or how much of a great scorer you are. But that's not all that Ellis does in the pick and roll. Let's go ahead and look at some of his scoring as well. Now this next play right here, we have Ellis with the ball on the left wing. He's waiting for the pick and roll to happen, and this is something that's so important. If you look, number 10 is playing a little bit hard up on the high side on Ellis. What Ellis does is he waits for his screener to get set, but while he's doing that, he sets his defender up for the screen. He does a nice little back fake if you pay attention really closely, which causes for number 10 to jump because he doesn't want him to be able to get that wide open lane into the layup. This is going to be able to set him up to where it's easier for Ellis to now run closely off of the screen and get his defender behind him. Now that he's rubbed him off of the screen, he has a wide open area. Now the big is forced to make a decision because the other big that set the screen for Ellis is now getting ready to roll to the rim. So the big can't wait too long for his defender to get back in the way of Ellis and has to get back to his defender because Ellis is going to be able to make that pass. Now we're into the secondary break of this pick and roll. Ellis does a nice slow change of speed if you pay attention, just to stop the defender a little bit. And that little bit of change of speed is enough for him to now be able to go full speed down the lane, put his body into the big, and make a tough finish layup, which probably should have been an and one. Ellis does a great job of being able to play in different speeds. If you actually pay attention to him in the open court, he's a blur. He's actually very similar to a lot of North Carolina guards who are extremely fast, like a John Wall. But what makes him really, really special is how he knows how to change speeds. He's not always 100% the same speed at all times. Now here's another example of him doing the exact same thing. On the left wing, he's got his defender. He's walking him down slowly, and so he can allow for his screener to be able to come in at an angle. You never want to set your big to come directly at you to set a screen. You want to work it to where they can come at an angle. In order to do that, you have to, 1, be patient. The second thing you have to do is you have to work your man down. That's why so many coaches talk about doing V-cuts, because you want to set your defender up to be able to run him off of the screen so you can actually have a better chance of getting open. The same rule applies when you have the basketball in your hand. Now that the screen has been set, even if it's partially, it's just enough for Ellis to be able to get his shoulder in front of his defender and get him on his hip. But now if you look, he's actually fighting to try to get back in front of Ellis. So what does Ellis do? He does a nice small hesitation, just enough to get his defender to stop, and then goes back hard full speed, goes right into his defender, tough bucket, layup. Change of speeds is one of the most important things that you can learn how to do in basketball. It doesn't matter if you're super duper fast or an extremely slow person. If you know how to change speeds, then you can still score at an extremely high level because you know how to keep your defender guessing and changing with you, and you know when you're going to stop, which actually plays into another thing that I've talked about in past videos about playing at your speed. There is no such thing as game speed when it comes to having the ball in your hand. You play at your speed, and Ellis is great at that. Now, in this scenario right here that we're looking at, this is another situation where he's working off of the pick and roll on the left side. Now, if we pay attention, Ellis doesn't actually have to try to work his defender down into the screen because he's actually already trying to work himself down there. But the situation that this particular team is having right now, which is going to lead to a bucket on their head, is the fact that number 4 is not hedging out. First of all, I don't understand why Ellis's defender decided to go under the screen, but something that defenders do sometimes is they like to go down and meet the screen early, and so they don't necessarily run into it and get knocked out because they don't have good communication on the defensive end. But as you can see, number 4 doesn't fully hedge out and meet Ellis, and he catches his own defender being under that screen. So instead of coming off of the screen hard, there's nothing more to do but to just do a nice little sidestep, and so you got enough space and you're able to hit this wide open jump shot. The defender coming in, that could have been a foul, that's cash, and it's a beautiful shot. He knows how to change speeds, he knows when to pull up for the jump shot, he knows when to get to the rim as well as when to dish and create for other people. Now what we're going to look at is more of a one-on-one situation right now. So Ellis is bringing the ball up in the full court set. He's bringing it between his legs. He's bringing it down nice and slow. He's setting his man up, and if you look real close, he's doing a nice between the legs cross. His defender tried to bait, he crossed him over, and he got him on his hip. Pay attention to the fact that when you are able to get a player on your hip, then you have them beat. It's all about playing angles. I know when you're watching college basketball, you're watching the NBA a lot of times, it looks like they're doing a lot of moves to be able to get their shot off, and sometimes they are. But the main focus that every offensive player wants is to be able to get the defender on their hip. Once I have you on my hip, you have no choice but to either ride me all the way in so I can get a layup, or you are going to foul me. That's exactly what James Harden does. That's what Steph Curry does, Kyrie Irving, a lot of other people. Do not get so caught up in fancy footwork and fancy dribbling. It's all about getting the defender on your hip. Ellis got the defender on his hip right here. Now, his defender is riding him down to the rim, but Ellis is able to stop on a dime. He knows once he stops on a dime, that defender is going to go in front of him, and he's going to just do a nice behind the back while he is turning around doing the cha-cha slide, and he's going to step back right into this 3. This is probably the toughest bucket of the entire highlight reel. This is a golden one. I love it. He's talking his stuff. It's great. This is beautiful. This is beautiful basketball we're watching right now. Now what we're looking at right here is something that a lot of point guards are not good at doing. It is what separates people like Steph Curry from a guy like Chris Paul, for example, or a James Harden. Ellis is good at playing off of the ball as well. Normally when a point guard gives the ball up, they really don't know what to do, and they just kind of stand around and they find themselves just in la-la land waiting for somebody else to create a situation for themselves. So in this particular scenario right here, Ellis gives the ball over to the wing, and the wing does a nice high post entry. The high post then makes the kick into the corner. Now what Ellis does is he actually starts to relocate. As you're watching, you can see him starting to come closer and closer into the top of the key. Everything in basketball is about spacing. So he stops, he waits to see what his defender is going to do. He's watching to see what his teammate is going to do with the ball in his hands. Now if you look, Ellis is wide open. Now he could stay right here and just clap his hands for the ball, but he sees that his player is making a move to start driving towards the rim. So what does Ellis does? He doesn't stand there. He doesn't try to go towards the player with the ball. He starts to relocate, because as you move, I should move. Just like that. And as he's getting closer into the rim, Ellis is making more space, and he gives him an easy wide open pass. His defender is caught in la-la land, not watching, and now he has a wide open jump shot for 3. Tap your head 3 times if you want. This is tough. He's talking his trash, and I absolutely love it. It's all of these things that make Ellis the point guard that he is and the hot commodity that he is in the college ranks. And if he continues to play like this and translates this to high major Division I, he's going to have a real opportunity to be able to play at the next level. He has great speed in the open floor. He knows how to work the pick and roll. He knows how to shoot off of it. He knows how to pass off of it and get to the rim. He has good one-on-one moves, and he's got a little bit of bounce to him too. And honestly, when I look at him, I don't like to do a lot of comparisons, but he reminds me a lot of a very young Terry Rozier. I know that might be doing a little bit too much, but I see a lot of that in his game. He doesn't seem to be extremely tall. He's probably about 6'2", but he's got long arms. He's very fast. Maybe not as athletic jumping wise as Terry, but he's more of a scoring point guard than he is just a true point guard. And that's not a bad thing because that's where the NBA is going now. But what makes him really, really great and a hot commodity is how he can play on the ball and he knows how to play off the ball and still be effective. So if anybody's watching this right now, take a look at Ellis. Make sure that y'all understand what it is that makes him great and apply that to your game as well, because you too can get recruited at a very high level if you work on your game like Ellis has done and know how to think the game. So that's all I got. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at hoop_politics. God's always in control. Peace.